Hey there, Squirrel Army. Uh, Today we've got to have a difficult discussion about the channel.
You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing.
Alright, well, this has been coming for a while, I think. You know, and it's been tough to keep the channel rolling and keep everything happening with the channel. This year has been like one of the best years or actually has been the best year for the channel. Even despite me going to school and everything else that's been going on this year, still been the best year so far. We haven't made the gains that I wanted us to make here on the channel though. And I've said this in a few places that, this year, or this next year rather, might just have to be the last year if things don't improve and we don't get a huge amount of subscriptions, because next year I've got to be working. I've got to be earning some money. I've got to be getting some bank. So I can't dedicate any time to this if it's not earning me any money on this platform. And I want to put in some effort to this in the early parts of next year, perhaps. But honestly, we haven't been doing very well ever anyway. And we've never had that big of a reach and all of that stuff. Even when I was sort of posting things to literally anywhere and everywhere that I could think to post it, on the Discords, on Reddit, literally anywhere and everywhere that I could try to post it. I'm not a person that, I do it for kind of a job to do social media stuff. I don't really do social media stuff myself very much. If you look at my, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I'm usually just talking to people or whatever that I know, or reacting to things that I enjoy and whatnot. Yes, I talk about Magic on there and that, but I'm not really talking about the channel or anything like that. I don't really put it, I could put it out there, but I had already been putting it out there a fair bit sometimes, just to say, hey, I'm doing this, go check it out. Maybe one or two people would check it out, and that was it. So, it's never been one of those things that's been very successful, even if I've been doing it. And yes, I could invest more time and energy and money and whatever else into the project here, but that's what it's been. It's been a project, and yeah, at some point, I've got to sort of decide, enough's enough. There's nobody that's even listening to or watching any of the videos more than 2 minutes long. So I know everyone's basically tuned out at this point, but for those people who, are interested and are wondering what's going to be happening or why the channel disappears or whatever, all of this other stuff, or that sort of thing. Hey, this is why, because it is very tough to grow a YouTube channel. It was very tough to grow the channel while I was at school and whatnot, as I said, because I was doing schoolwork and I was 100% focused on all that stuff, and that took the whole year. And took a lot of stress and a lot of other things to get through that, but whatever. I've come out the other end, and look now. I've been unemployed for many years. It's nothing new to me. I like following my hobbies and whatnot, but I've only, got into Magic in the last, 5, 6 something years or whatever it's been. So, I'm a fairly new person to it, not the newest person to it, I know, but still, for most intents and purposes, for some people, oh, you haven't been here for very long. So, but whatever, again, I've been here for a while and I'm not going anywhere. It's just that, I can't have this channel and dedicate time to it if it's not reaping me any rewards. And, I love the project here that I made, because it was a good project for me. because it really helped me like understand a lot of the stuff that needs to go into editing videos and whatnot and all that kind of stuff, and uploading and analytics and all this other stuff, blah blah blah, that goes into being a YouTuber and goes into making content and whatnot. I've gotten a bit better at it. I don't really think I've really put a lot of that stuff out yet. I would like to. It's going to be tough to do that. It's a very sort of, like, especially with the operation that I've got, it's a home business effectively. So, it's me and maybe one camera or whatever. So I can't get that many dynamic shots or whatnot of things and things like that. So I can only do with what I have for the most part. I don't have a team. It's just me, and I have to literally do everything. So, that's the way it is. Look, if the channel goes long and does well, obviously I'll keep it up, but at a certain point I will call it a day in next year to see if we can, keep this thing afloat. But if not, then, it'll be the end, at some point. I don't know when, but at some point I'll have to decide, I've got all this other work, or I've got all this other stuff that's going on, and choosing between this semi-pet project, I guess, in a regard, or whatever you want to call it, versus actually going out and making money. I will choose making the money every single time. And I think everyone does that. Like, if the channel had been very successful or was doing better, and yes, again, if I had have, not had to go to school, but the school was teaching me more stuff about video editing and sound editing and all this other stuffs and whatnot. So I was really learning a lot of stuff for this, but again, I just couldn't dedicate a lot of time to it because, hey, I'm going to school, and that's, 8 hours every day at the minimum, not including, sitting back and studying and whatnot and all of that stuff. And I made time to make some videos, but, again, they are not the highest quality or the best. I will agree to some people who say, oh, your videos still aren't good enough or whatever. No, that's because I have literally zero time to make them, and can only make them in, like, the few minutes here and there that I get or got during the year, or really pushed myself to really get, that time to actually go, okay, I've got to put out content for this, because otherwise, my channel is literally dead in the water as it is, and I didn't want it to literally die in the water while I was still trying to work on it. I'm still trying to work on it, and I will put 100% into it in the early next year, or as much as I can. But again, like, there's no point in me continually, like, doing these sorts of things if people aren't really feeling the vibe. And I don't know what that is. Like, if people, like the subject and like the discussion or whatever, or they just don't like one thing here or one thing there or whatever it is, like, and that's why I have said it sometimes on the community tabs and things like that, which, again, maybe 2 people read or whatever. So, like, again, like, the amount of interaction and the amount of dedication that's there from, like, some of the people and a lot of the people. I don't want to just say all of the people, because I know that some of the people, like, life gets in the way and you have other priorities. And again, it's not just like you 100% care about this channel. Like, you're just, like, here for the content, bro. But, like, if you, are resonating with, like, what I'm saying or subscribing, you like something that's here, like, or if you're watching the videos, like, you like something that's here, you like this subject, or you like whatever, is going on, you like the Squirrel Army or whatever it is, you like the nuts or whatever it is, you like the funny memes of all the things that are going on here with the squirrel vibes and whatnot that we have going on here at the channel, which is some of the stuff that I enjoy, again. But, at the end of the day, like, this isn't, like, as I say, it's not the end, but this is, like, the doom bell, ringing out from Mordor or whatever, like, this is, if like, I know, again, 90% of people have tuned out, so, and they don't care, but whatever. I'm just saying it to say, hey, if people turn around in a year's time and go, oh, I wonder what happened to that Squirrel Commander guy. Well, what happened was people weren't paying any attention and, and not saying, hey, like, this is what we want or whatever. I tried to give you guys what you want, but when these guys don't say, oh, this is what we want or this is what we like or whatever and that sort of thing, if you're not interacting and not helping me out by saying, oh, yeah, that sounds cool or, whatever, let's do this or do that or whatever, then I don't have anything to really gauge it off. Like, I can look at the analytics that are, fairly general, and I have done that a couple of times and whatnot. But even then, when I used it, like the video one of the videos that I put out, like, got, like, I don't know, couple hundred views maybe, and that was like it, I think. Didn't even get 200 views. So yeah, like like, that just shows you again, like, analytics is good, but like, the reach that the channel has isn't really that big, and that comes down to number of subscribers, number of likes, and number of comments and all of that. Now, I could just comment 30 times on my videos or whatever, whatnot, but, like, what's the point in that if I'm just talking to myself, like, effectively? Like, so I think the amount of care that people who's actually sub to the channel as well or have interest in what's going on here needs to be a lot more. You guys, like, if you guys don't care about what's going on here, and then you turn around in 6 months, a year, or whatever it is, and go, wonder what happened to that Squirrel Commander. Well, it was your own fault, like, you guys didn't help. You guys didn't put in anything to the channel. So, and that's how channels work. They're a community-driven initiative. If people don't really put in for them, then they don't really last, You've got to have a dedicated audience. And yes, you've got to grow that dedicated audience. But I've been trying to do that for, like, I don't know, 6 years or more, whatever it's been. So, like, again, we're not going, like, we weren't going anywhere for a long time. In, like, the last couple of years have only been, like, been the best years. Like, the last year's been the best year, but the last couple of years have been the only years where we've got any real significant, like, consistent numbers. So, like, obviously we have been doing something, or I have been doing something right in some regard, even though I haven't been posting on Reddit or Twitter or this or that or whatever else you want to say that you reckon, oh yeah, but you'd get more interactions or whatever if you posted on this or you did that or whatever. Yeah, but I tried that before and, only got limited results. And now that I'm not, hey, look, I've got more views than I ever did when I was doing that. So, I looked at the analytics and it was like, yeah, most people just look on YouTube or whatever anyway, or Google it up. Like, they Google up, deck text, or they Google up, pre-con guides, or they Google up whatever commander that they're looking for guides on that commander. So, and then most people, like, look at the deck list or whatever it is that, that commander has, and maybe some people who aren't super familiar with, like, EDH or whatever else will, go, okay, so how does this deck play out? How does it win? What's the strategy? Blah, 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 besides, like, spam tokens, blah, 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 whatever. Or spam +1 counters, or do this, do XYZ synergy, you know, do aristocraty things, you know, whatever it is. You know, sack your thing, return your thing, blah, blah, blah. You know, get value, draw cards, make mana, ping people for life, etc., blah, blah, blah. Or whatever else it is. So again, like, yeah, that's where I'm at with the channel right now. It's not good news, really. You know, like I said, I've got a bit of work ahead of me, but I want to do it and still want to give it a go, but for how long that is and how much I'm going to put in, I don't know. Because again, like, if I'm doing all this work and no one really gives two hootenannies, then, well, what's the point? You know, and again, if there's money to be made out there, then why am I doing this thing that's not earning me anything and not helping me and supporting my family and, you know, helping me pay my bills and whatnot, because that's the reality that I have to face and have to start looking at. So, yeah, you know, not a very fun or interesting or related to Magic sort of episode here, but it's something that I think needed to kind of be said and needed to be put out there, and that, you know, I think a lot of people sometimes, I don't know, might take all this for granted, you know, and whatnot. And it is a busy life that we all lead. I get that too. But, you know, and you can only be dedicated to so many things and whatnot. And the ADHD sometimes is real. But, hey, you know, just dropping that like and just commenting something, you know, even if it's, you know, seemingly inconsequential, just like, I enjoyed this deck. Cool deck, whatever, or I'd like to see this commander, or I'd like to see this built this way or that way, or whatever else, you know, like, or can you build this CDH or whatever? I can't, obviously, but again, like, you know, like, things like that, just like getting in there and saying, you know, something and helping the channel out, sharing it with a friend or whatever. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say for this one. You know, as I sort of said, not that much fun, but I hope you guys have enjoyed in some regard, just to hear, you know, updates on what's going on and where we're at and all of that sort of stuff. And I hope that you will tune in again to the next one.